without further ado, I will be explaining how to maneuver Cuba as an American. Disclaimer though, the information and kind of like everything that I'm referring back to was for my trip that was done in August 2018. Right now we're in 2019, heading 2020. You know, Trump be playing, so that's all I can tell you, okay? So just don't be discouraged to go. Cuba's like awesome, beautiful, the food is cool, you know. I'm not gonna say that the food is fabulous. It's like home cooked food is good, you feel me? But again, remember it's a communist country and they can only do so much. But the food was good. The food was good. So I just want to begin with just credit cards are not a thing. They're just not a thing. Just don't even, you know, when you travel and people really, you know, like go with their currency, they go with the money they're gonna go with, and they're just like, you know, whatever, if anything happens, I can just swipe my card and go. No, boo-boo, not in this country. You cannot do that. So I really highly recommend that you just over exaggerate the amount of money that you think you're gonna be using in Cuba. Because credit card, like, you don't want that, not in Cuba. And the situation is that the communication in Cuba, like the internet also is not it, is just not the wave over there. I don't know, I think now they're moving towards having constant Wi-Fi, but when I went, you needed to buy a Wi-Fi card, just like if you were buying a calling card to call your family in like Africa or the Caribbean, wherever. You need a Wi-Fi card to use anything. So literally, like, when I'm telling you right now, credit cards are not safety nets. Do not even, like, just forget that even exists. I just want to drill that into your mind. So first things first, you really need to educate yourself about yourself and the people you are going with. Now analyze your spending habits. Like, again, like I said, because credit cards are not a thing, you really need to know what type of traveler are you. Are you the person that buys souvenirs for everybody? Are you the person that likes to spend over the top because you're abroad? Like, what type of person are you? And also, what type of people are the people you're traveling with? Because whatever problem they end up having, realistically, as much as you want to be petty, that problem is going to be your problem as well. Really, everybody has to be on the same page when it comes to money. I mean, so really just analyze your spending, okay? Cuba, coming as an American, Cuba is not the place, and this is one of the first things I told my friends. I was like, we are not going to be balling on a budget. Now, my parents are from Honduras. You know, when you go to Caribbean, you already know that you're gonna be living like a king, okay? You're gonna be living like a king. Now, Cuba is part of the Caribbean, okay? Again, communism is there, but you're not going to be balling us a budget, actually. The Cuban money is equal, if not stronger, than the American money, believe it or not. So, depending on where you go, you could find cheap stuff, but half of the time you're not. It depends if you know Spanish. It kind of depends, like, who do you talk to. It depends on your Airbnb host. It depends on a lot of things, and you will only get so much information from blogs and stuff, because Cuba is still kind of like, I don't want to say it's unexplored territory. Like, a lot of us have been out there, especially a lot of us Black people have been out there, but still kind of the information fluctuates. We are not really that aware of how the currency could be, because you're not even able to purchase Cuban money here. But there are two currencies. There is the CUC, which is the convertible, which is stronger than the second currency, which is CUP, cup, which is a Cuban peso. Now, the Cuban peso is only for locals. Ideally, because obviously if you end up with the peso, then you end up with the peso. You gotta spend it, you feel me? But it's usually the CUC, CUC, the convertible one, which is only for tourists. So you're not gonna see locals kind of with that money unless like they're working or something like that. Obviously, the money that they get from the government and everything is in pesos. Which brings me to the second situation where you always have to check your change. You could pay for something and you would end up getting the change back and the Cuban peso. And again, the Cuban peso is not as strong as the convertible. So you'll be getting the exact change, but then the strength of it will be different. So you really have to check on that. When it comes to changing your money as an American, a lot of the blog posts that I've been reading and a lot of the videos that I were watching, a lot of them recommended to change to euros and then change to the Cuban convertible money once you get to Cuba, of course. And while I was planning my trip, I was very like hesitant. I had no idea, because before my Cuba trip, I had gone to Europe, and I remember like saving $500, like that was gonna be my budget for like a week in Amsterdam and Germany. And I was changing it to euros, and I got like 300 something euros, and I'm like, what is this? And so I didn't really want to be losing out on money converting to euros to convert to Cuban convertibles. We're saying convert a lot. And so I was really hesitant. So blessed enough, I was able to ask my Airbnb host what he would recommend. And he actually told me that he changes money, like his people changes money. And so again, my recommendation is asking around. That is your best bet. You change a little bit when you get to the airport because you have no choice. You need to get a taxi to get to wherever you need to go. Or if you plan to arrange a car with your Airbnb host, that would be also easier as well. But then kind of like, I wouldn't recommend changing everything at the first spot that you went to. I would really recommend asking around. The exchange rate that my Airbnb host actually gave us was 1 USD to 0.93 Cook, so Cuban convertibles. And then he said 1 euro would be 1.13 Cook, Cuban convertibles. And so with that being said, like you can tell, like basically in this situation, there was no point in changing it to euros because the difference was literally cents. I would be losing out on more changing to euros than I would just directly just buying the Cuban convertible money. And that's what I ended up doing. My friend, unfortunately, she changed to Canadian money, which a lot of people also recommend. And the exchange rate for Canadian money to Cuban convertible was actually pretty crappy. When I recommended it, it was really bad. She ended up losing out a lot on that. So my biggest recommendation is to ask. I really recommend for you to ask and just kind of check around what other people have done. I literally, and it sucks because there is no straightforward answer to this, and it really does suck. But really, me flying to Cuba, I also was very clueless. I really had no idea what I was gonna do, and I was really just on the whim with it. I was really on the whim, and I was just like, you know, it is what it is. I'm just gonna leave it to the Lord, and we'll just convert over there and we'll see what's up. And it ended up working out for us. Even coming back, I personally went with $900. I was telling everybody bring grand. I went with $900 and I came back with $400. So I actually $400, $300. So I didn't spend a lot. And so at the airport, I don't know how or why, I ended up speaking, me and my mom ended up speaking with like the announcer of the airport, but somehow we ended up striking a conversation with her. I think it was because my boyfriend was sick and we needed like medical attention. And so she's like, do you have money that you would like to sell back? And we're like, yeah, like we actually do. And she was like, okay, well my rate is 1-to-1. So I actually was able to sell for more than what I bought for. So that was pretty cool. But you do have options when you land to Cuba when it comes to selling your money or buying your money, or like converting your money. There are places called cadecas. And then there's the Cuban BFI Bank. These are the two places where it comes to exchanging. The banks are usually the way to go. Cadecas are exchange places. And so those are the two places that I can highly recommend. That is Currency Explained Cuba edition. They are just a summary recap of everything. There is 2 currencies. One is stronger than the other one. The cup is for locals. The cook is for tourists, which is a little bit stronger than the cup. and just really just pay attention to the change. Don't exchange everything, exchange little by little, and just ask around. Eventually you're just gonna get the hang of it and know who and where to exchange your money from. So don't rely on credit cards. Don't. That is also like the main thing that I really want to say. Just don't. Credit cards are not your safety net. Don't do it. Don't do it. But thanks for watching. Definitely check out my other videos and stay tuned for more videos of traveling and other stuff related to life, you know? You feel me? Because I want you to travel. I want you to go and explore the world. But I also want you to be informed and just aware of things that you may come across. It just may happen. I don't know. But just thanks for watching. Bye.